Welcome to the Scores Soccer Summit. We are on day 3 now. Tons of inspiring information. We've learned so much from these soccer leaders, and we have another great session coming up for you right now with Nicole and Lindsay. Before we do that, I just want to say hello. I'm Angela Bailey from America Scores Bay Area, the organization putting on this event. Shout out to Alicia Yeno, also of America Scores Bay Area, who brought all these incredible speakers together. Thank you so much. I wanted to also give 2 shouts out to our lead partners, Goal 5 and Women in Soccer. Please, please, please go to Women in Soccer and sign up to be a member. It's free and it's going to increase your soccer connections and your network, and it will help us all amplify this message that we are hearing this week. So go to Women in Soccer and support Goal 5. You might actually be a lucky winner because Goal 5 is giving out a prize to one lucky individual from each session. You will be randomly selected, so cross your fingers, it could be you. We put on these summits to bring our community together. It is an honor to bring these incredible speakers to you. So before I turn it over to Nicole and Lindsay, I am going to share a poem because that's how we do it at America Scores. We bring free soccer, poetry, and service learning program to youth. And so I cannot leave without sharing one of Fatima's poems. She was 9 when she wrote this, and the title is My School. Begin with 3 cups of gold medals, add a half spoon of soccer balls, toss 9 teaspoons of passion, mix 5 gallons of commitment, leadership, sportsmanship, and teamwork. Sprinkle love all over, mix it, and put it in the oven for 45 minutes. Serve with lots of love and victories. Thank you, Fatima. And thank you, Nicole and Lindsay, for being here today. I will turn it over to you. Can't wait to be inspired. Peace.
Thank you. I'm curious what school she goes to, if she's in our club. Like somebody we have. Do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Nicole Hercules. I have an inner city soccer program called the Rochester City Soccer League, all the way up north in Rochester, New York. I also have a consulting company called NMH Consulting, where we work with underserved and disadvantaged youth throughout the country. And I'm the first female chair of the United Soccer Coaches Black Soccer Coaches Group. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us and for jumping on today. We're looking forward to this conversation. I'll pass it over to Lindsay.
Hi. So I'm Lindsay. I live in San Francisco, California, and about 6 years ago started an organization called Girls Unite. And although we don't say no to boys, we predominantly work with girls, and we have an all-female coaching, female-identified coaching staff. And our goal is to provide any girl that would like to play soccer the opportunity. And with soccer, we do a ton of community building, confidence building, on and off the pitch.
Wonderful.
We don't. We're moderating ourselves.
Okay, great. So yeah, let's hop straight into the material. So you guys, thank you for being at our session. We really appreciate everyone tuning in. The topic that we're speaking about today is really important, especially in today's landscape. We're seeing that this next generation that's coming up, they're powerful youth, they're kids who have things to say, and we're just really excited to show you guys ways that we've been able to create programs that can foster success for coaches and players. So, you know, Lindsay, I'm going to push it over to you for the first topic that we're going to kind of talk about. And this, guys, it's going to be an open dialogue. It's a conversation. So even though Lindsay and I are chatting here, please feel free to ask questions, engage with us. Let's have some fun and have some conversations about ways that we're just going to make the girls' game a lot better and a lot more fun.
Definitely. So the first thing is you should have a mission statement. You should have a mission that you believe in and that you can follow through on. And so for ours, it's very much putting girls at the center of everything that we do and making sure that we're helping them to feel successful on the pitch, and that will then help them in all aspects of their life. And so we hire and train our staff, our board, who also believe very much in this mission. So we're not maybe like a lot of other soccer clubs that sort of have satellite coaches, each kind of running their own individual program under the umbrella of a club. But we all wholeheartedly believe in this holistic approach to working with girls, and with our coaches, and helping them to feel successful on and off the pitch as well.
And Lindsay, that's what I love about your program, is that I think you're very similar to my program, where we literally were thinking about what's missing in the soccer landscape for girls. And I know in Rochester, New York, there was no recreational soccer leagues for girls to play. So the whole idea of our mission, we were really intentional about who we are and what we wanted to be in our community. So we said girls don't have access and opportunities to play, so we need to create that. I have in my league, I have a girls team, and unfortunately in the inner city, girls have not had the opportunity to play. So we literally have 28 schools that we pull together to form one team. If you can think about how crazy that is, that there's 28 teams of kids who haven't had, formal soccer training, and they come together to form one team. And because we have so many different schools involved, my girls compete in AA, which is the top league. So it creates all these different issues, with the idea of equity and equality. But we've created our league to provide opportunities for girls to play. So our mission, it has an intensive purpose of making sure that girls have the opportunity and access to play. And whatever they don't have, we have to create it for them. And we can go into more in depth with some of the other things that we're going to talk about. So I'll throw it back over to you, Lindsay, for our next topic.
Okay. So, hiring a diverse group of coaches, for me, is really important. Our coaches need to represent who we're working with. And so the community of girls that we have are all over the place, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different geographical locations in the city, ages, sexual orientation. Like, we have kids that are coming from all different walks of life, and we want to make sure that our coaching staff and our board represent who we're working with. We want our girls to see themselves in their coaches, and to see potentially a pathway for them if they are interested in coaching, refereeing, sitting on a board, etc. So we have all ages. We have trans women, we have women of color, we've got queer women, we've got Jewish women, white women, Spanish speaking, Korean speaking, so we really try to make sure that we're representative of who we're working with. And that also then attracts girls to the game, to be able to see themselves in their coaching staff, be like, oh, I thought only, wealthy white girls from Pacific Heights could play soccer, but I see that's not the case. So we want to make sure that we're inviting and inclusive, and we don't turn any girls away. So whether you can pay or not pay, all girls are welcome, and we make sure to make that possible.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think that is so important. And I remember, I always tell this story for why I started an inner city soccer program. And I remember I graduated from college, and from the time I was in high school, I played for the Rochester Ravens, which is a local semi-pro soccer league. And the coaches from this inner city program would often say to me, you need to come in and work with inner city program kids. And I didn't understand why. And, I went in, did a session with the kids, and I didn't know how to coach at that time, but I loved Brazilian soccer. So that was my thing, was skills and dribbling and doing all this crazy stuff, dancing on the ball. So I gave the kids, I'm like, guys, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to take the ball off my foot. And I did that because I wanted to be able to get them to buy into the fact that I wanted them to develop their skill set. So after about 1 minute and 30 seconds, they couldn't take the ball from my foot. So after the session, I had a time to sit down with the kids and to really talk to them about the sport. And one girl looked at me and she asked me a simple question. She said, "Where are you from?" But she said it, she was so perplexed with the fact that a Black woman could play soccer, that at that moment, I recognized that, once I was done with schooling and playing soccer, that I would create a program so that girls and boys who aren't seeing themselves doing something could feel represented. So when Lindsay's talking about, creating this diverse team and staff, I mean, mine isn't quite as diverse as yours, but mine's pretty diverse too. I love, I definitely got to step my game up to get to your level of diversity, but it's so important that kids who are sometimes ostracized or not seen can see themselves. So I appreciate what you're doing on so many different levels. Because I mean, I have coaches of color, we have women, we have men of different race, different backgrounds. We have women who are coaching, refugee teams where there's sometimes, some issues with that. And we could talk about that later. But it creates a new landscape. It allows women to be seen in a different way, but it also allows people who don't see themselves to feel belonging and included into a space that we are creating. So without really going too much further in here, and Lindsay, I'm going to throw this question back to you. Do you have like girls and players who, come to you just really appreciative of what you've created and what that is for them to see themselves? What is that like for some of your players?
Yeah, I mean, constantly. I think that's what keeps me in it. So, I mean, we're constantly being, rewarded from parents and kids with praise and just outpouring of, a lot of them have come from other programs where they had, no offense to men. This is not a blanket statement, but, came from a program with a screamy, angry, old school male coach. And here they are around, seeing women at the helm who have very high standards. The bar is high, but who just take a very, very different approach to motivating girls. And yeah, I mean, it feels political and, revolutionary every single time I go out to the field. Last night, we had 50 girls out at the field with 4 female coaches, and all the other fields were just totally dominated by boy players and male coaches. And I had a mom even text me during practice, "What is all that screaming going on out there?" And I was like, "It's just the coach on the field next to me."
Not my field.
Not my field. Yeah. So every day I feel there's a huge reward. I just feel like I'm part of this revolution. And I see that my girls are excited. They're out doing community service. They're coaching. Even my 7th and 8th grade girls are coaching their 2nd and 3rd grade sisters teams right now and running sessions. And so it just feels like it's catching on and that they feel empowered, and it's really awesome. Yeah.
I love that. And I think, one of the very important things is us being able to create, safe and inclusive environments. And I think we've talked on that with gender, with age, with different things. How important is that for you when you were creating your league, to have that inclusivity for, players feeling comfortable, but also safe?
It's the most important. Yeah. I mean, growing up as an athlete, a multi-sport athlete, I only had one female coach my entire life, and predominantly until high school played with other white kids. And so I didn't want that for my career to replicate that. I didn't want to I'm losing my words today too, but I didn't want to replicate that. So I live in a super diverse city. My wife is Black. It's just, it's absolutely something that I'm completely dedicated to, is making sports accessible to all girls, regardless of race. Yeah.
This part about it is creating a safe and inclusive environment. Like, this hit me last year, because I'm always trying to evolve and get better. And I'm so happy that I have Shalom on my leadership team, because it makes me look at things differently. It's also why I'm really proud of the Advocacy Council from United Soccer Coaches, because had I not been a part of these different organizations where I had to really look at different communities, I had a mother last year who came up to me, and we're co-ed all the way up until U13. And then after that, it's boys and girls. And I had a mom who came up to me and said, "What happens if you have a gender non-binary, player? Once they get to a certain age, this is, we love this league. We love what you've created. We love that we belong. We love that everyone's included." But her son at that time was having trouble identifying with what his gender was. And the mother was so concerned, but I was happy that we created an environment where she felt comfortable enough to ask me to create that space. So the importance of when we're creating these programs is to really think about, is everyone included? Can everyone play and feel safe? Does everyone, when they're stepping on this field, feel valued and seen? And those are the things that I've learned from that moment, that I may not know enough about some of the things that people have to go through. And that's fine. I still have to try to find a way to create a holistic environment for everyone to feel safe and everyone to feel valued. I think that's what I love about the programs that we've created is that it's a space for everyone to be seen and to be able to participate and play the world's game that everyone loves. It's so important that we're able to do that. So I would actually say that for people who are watching, are you a part of a program? Are you creating that environment that allows kids and your coaches to feel safe? And I'm going to say this too, Lindsay, sorry, I always talk so much, but
Please.
I was at the U.S. Soccer Foundation a couple years back, and I was talking about some Black soccer, situations. And there was a Black female coach who came up to me and was talking to me about safe places to coach. And it completely went over my head what she was talking about. But what she meant was a safe place for, a gay woman to coach. And I didn't even think about it because I'm just like, oh, you're a Black woman, you're having trouble because you're Black. But I mean, it's really important that we look at things from different standpoints, and that sometimes advocating for our players and our coaches means listening and really hearing them, because I looked at it from my background and I'm like, oh, okay, we can help you start a program, but that's not what she meant. It's not what she meant.
And I think by creating a diverse community of coaches and board members and active family members, we're not going to have individually, I'm not going to have every single person's experience. And so by having a diverse community, you can pull from their experiences, their resources. You can have them step in. Maybe another coach would be better suited to a particular team or to work with a player one-on-one. So, there are just so many benefits to having a diverse community.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know with our league, when we started it, and I mean, that would have to be a session on how you create your programs and stuff like that, but we started it with no overhead cost. And we were able to do that because we had spent enough time in our community doing meaningful work, so that when we came in, people understood that when we said that our mission is creating opportunities for all to play, our community already knew that we meant what we say, because we show up and do that every day. So when it came to getting a board together, it almost worked so easily because you had a lot of like-minded parents. The fortunate thing for me is that the commissioner of city recreation, 4 of her children, and she has 2 sets of twins, play in my league. So, when it comes to rec soccer, we've never paid for permits. We actually train our kids out of the stadium that the Rhinos used to play out of, because that team is now, defunct. But we've gotten a lot of buy-in and support from our community, because when you create programs like this that really foster the development of growth for girls and women, people want to be a part of that. I've had a program where we've had a valedictorian every single year, a salutatorian, with exception for last year, and a lot of the girls felt like they failed us. And so sometimes we've created a little bit too much of an amazing culture, because we just set that standard where it's not even just about being in school. It's also, about on the field, in school, like just in life, we want our players to thrive, so that when they're done with us and they're in the world, they're absolute beasts who are fully confident, who have self-esteem, who know who they are, and they're just ready to take the world over. How about you, Lindsay? I know you have some young little beasts and board members who are, helping you build your vision.
Yeah, I mean, everything you just said, I'm like, yes. So we do a lot of stuff off the pitch to help to build confidence with our athletes, so that they do feel like we are safe as coaches in an environment. We encourage our kids to try everything, to be a multi-sport athlete. I am absolutely anti one sport, at 5 years old. I think play multiple sports, try band, try drama. And our coaches, we just, again, off the pitch, like I know that, we don't get paid for this time, but we go to so many bar and bat mitzvahs, school plays, concerts. I mean, like their volleyball games. So we really have a weirdly unique culture in that way. I totally acknowledge that. And also I want to just say, like, to all the coaches, directors, board members out there, like, even just once or twice a year, if you can just show up for a kid off the pitch, to just let them know that, like, you're that rockin' adult in their life, outside of, maybe their immediate family, it goes such a long way. You don't have to be quite maybe as committed as I am, but I really encourage you to just step out and show up for these kids. And then when they go out into the world, they will feel like they just always have somebody that's got their back, even if they don't see you for 20 years, even if they don't talk to you again. They just know that there was that person who like just really believed in them. So I can't emphasize that part enough.
It looks like we have a couple questions in the box there, so I'm going to throw a couple of these out there. When you see an all-white male leadership group that does not actively reach out to the communities of color, how do you address this and demand change? It's a good question. Lindsay, I'm going to give that to you first.
Sure. Well, I can give you an example from yesterday morning.
Oh,
I can give you one probably daily. So we play in NorCal, NorCal Premier League, our traveling teams do. And we just had board nomination or voted for board members yesterday. And currently our board is all men and all white with the exception of one. And then the incoming board members to vote on were all white with the exception of one, no women. And so, I've been pushing this for a long time. I will never be afraid to send an email, to ask in a meeting, to be that one woman who stands up, and to not do it to be combative, but to do it to affect change. That we on all levels need to represent who we're serving. So send emails, get a women's committee together, get a women's board together, have a youth advisory board. If you have girls in your community, you have young women in your community, and again, like just by showing up, it's revolutionary. All of these boys and men's teams that were out at the field last night saw 50 girls and women take over the field, and we're running a professional practice, and we're organized, and we're working hard, and we're positive. So also I think just by seeing it will create change, but also you got to push it. You got to push the envelope. You got to stand up and demand change. If you need any other help, please email me and call me. I will be there alongside you in front of you.
Write a scathing letter.
Yeah. And there's so many ways to do it. And most of the time I step up and offer assistance. So at all of these United Soccer Coaches Association conventions, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I would say it's 100 men to every woman. I mean, that's what it feels like anyway. And I'll go into these, rooms where it's about like hiring coaches, just generically hiring coaches. And all these men, oh, there's no women. There's no women in our community. There's no female coaches. And it's like, there's no women in Florida, and so like, do you need help? I will help you. Like that is my commitment to the girls in your communities. I will help you to find women. So I don't know what else to say other than just like speak up, keep pushing, keep affecting change, keep being annoying and obnoxious and professional, and just push the freaking door down.
I love it, because I'll tell you what, for me, it's not about the white men thing, because again, we're both females who own our programs. So for me, I stick to my mission statement. If I have white men who want to be involved to align with what the mission is, absolutely come and join. But sometimes it's tough when people don't understand the culture of our players and value our community, because we say this all the time, our players come first, our community's needs comes first, and we identify the needs and then we serve that. So if we have a coach of any color, any race, any gender who gets our mission and gets our values, come on. Yeah, but there are some issues with people who are doing some of this programming who don't value and respect their players, and that's part of past cultures. But I think things are changing where it's really important that people see their players, especially young women who are coming up, because I think especially through sports, I don't know how many, there's research on it, like what sports do for young girls as they're coming up, and you see this generation of just female leadership, and they're powerful, and they're smart, and they're bright. So we really have to be careful with the messages that we're sending and the representation of our kids. It's really important that we're intentional with that, and I think most of us who do this work are. Let's check out some of these other questions here. What do you say to a club coach league when they say that okay, we kind of hit that one, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go to this next one. Why is it important for the future of U.S. soccer to infuse inclusive and diverse into your programming, coaching, leadership, and soccer communities. I think it's just important for just a difference in thought. I think it's important for, wow, there's a lot of questions. A difference in thought, creating a space where other views and perceptions and backgrounds are just heard and seen. Lindsay, I'll just throw that over to you so you can kind of jump in on this.
Yeah, I mean, exactly those things. And I think, sometimes we're only looking for the A licensed coach that played, professionally and went to Stanford. And if we don't find that, then we stop looking. Or once we find that, we stop looking. I think in terms of women and girls, and especially creating diversity in those spaces, we have to take chances. We have to create opportunities. So, get your middle school and high school girls their grassroots coaching licensing, pay for it, figure it out, run a fundraising campaign, get, high school girls coaching that, get moms in the community that played. So you might not already find that top level coach, create those opportunities, and set aside a lot of money for your girls and your women. Center girls, put them in the front, for forever. But just try it for a year, try it for 2 years, like make that your mission, is that you're really going to focus on your girls and your women's side of your program. Make a commitment to your community. We're going to have 50% of women coaches on staff this year, or we're going to hire 5 women, or whatever it is. Like, make these commitments and then spend that year following through. We try to do that every year in our end of the year campaign. We're like, this year we're going to raise X amount of dollars, and our commitment to you is X, Y, and Z. And our community holds us to that. We hold ourselves to that. I really encourage you to do that. And I think it's very worthwhile.
So we have a bunch of questions, so I want to hit a few of these. We need a multifaceted approach to build the path to success for both coaches and players. How do you do this? And there's another question after that we can hit. I think it's extremely important, I know that it's extremely important that we identify the needs of our players and of our coaches. I think a lot of times we don't have a conversation with the people who, we're grooming or who we're bringing up, so we don't know exactly how we can best serve them. And so that second part of your question, why is this approach necessary for the retention of girls playing as they grow older? If we're not giving our players what it is that they need, why do they need our programming? So a lot of times you'll hear from Lindsay and I, we've created programs that aren't just based on soccer, right? For me, we have college advisement, we have academic support, we have career development, we have a youth advisory board. So we have our girls who are contributing to the conversation of what it is that we're building, and they're a part of that. So we ask questions, we ask those tough questions. What is it that you don't like? What is it that you do like? And we literally create or go get what they need. And it's the same with our coaching. We do goal setting. We know what they're interested in doing. And the most important thing that I love is that we're bringing up a generation of players who we're investing our time in. If they want to be coaches, we're investing in their coaching education. As Lindsay said, she has players who are doing refereeing. We do things that allow these kids to stay engaged in this sport. Some of them come back and they're coaching younger kids, wanting to make sure that they stay in the game. So for me, it's always just being really true to valuing the thoughts and the needs of our players individually and our coaches. What do they need? And as a CEO and a director of a program, how can I go and get that for them? Everyone may not be able to do that, but that's just what we do that allows our numbers to continue to grow each and every year. And one of the things that we had to do for our girls is they asked me straight up, they're like, we don't want to play co-ed. So you know what we did this year? We have only a girls league. It's just for girls. It's what they wanted. And our numbers have grown and grown and grown. So I think it's just that, making sure that we're willing to have these conversations and engage our kids. Our kids know what they want. They're smart, they're bright. And you have to give them sometimes your power to step up and help you build what they need, So that's my thought on that. So I'll give it over to you, Lindsay.
Yeah, no, I engage with your kids. It's really important. And I think too often what I see is if a kid doesn't in their heart have the trajectory to play in college or play professionally, a lot of times they're kind of written off. And I just want to encourage us as the adults in their life to remember that what they get out of playing a team sport is so long lasting. The benefits are so far reaching, to not just think about the soccer, but to think about this impact that we're having. This one little moment in their life that we're with them, will have just such far reaching effects. And so really try to just ask them and then help them, guide them on and off the pitch. Asking your kids, what are their goals? What are their aspirations? Asking the parents. Sometimes they don't match up. A lot of the times they don't match up with what their kids are saying. And then help guide the conversation between the parents and the kids. Like parents are out there like, like, college, Stanford, whatever. And the kid's like, no, I just like to play with my friends. So we also try to help guide those conversations too, so that parents can have a more realistic approach to their kids' interest and love in the game. And we want kids to play forever. My kids come out and watch my over 35 women's team play all the time. We are a pretty good soccer team, I think. But just to really instill like this love of being active, to being part of a team, to, being outside, to just fall in love and get back to the game forever until your knees no longer cooperate.
And I think that's the most special part of it, is when you engage with your players in that way. I mean, I'm very young, but I still have players to this day. They've graduated college, they're married, and they have kids. I don't know how, guys. I must have been coaching them when I was in high school, but we still have this relationship because it's a lifelong journey with our players. I always joke with my players, just because you graduated doesn't mean that you're going to get rid of us that easy. We have a lifelong commitment to seeing them successful, not only in soccer, but in life. There's only 7% of the population that play this game, boys and girls. They're going to play at the next level. I want to see the next generation of doctors, lawyers, nurses, whatever it is that they want to be. We want to make sure that we're supporting people as best as we can. And that's one of and we talk about professional development for our coaches, making sure that our coaches have the things that they need. Like right now, we're in COVID right now. So we're looking up coaching resources to make sure that we're engaging with our coaches still and that they're able to continue to develop. So the same way we want to pour into our girls, we want to be able to pour into our coaches too, so that they know that we're investing our time in them and being a part of the vision of what we're building. So that when we're talking about fostering, success for coaches and players, it's a full circle thing. All of us are evolving, all of us are growing, all of us are communicating in a way that's going to allow us to build things that everyone has ownership in. So when you have a youth advisory board and you're investing in your coaches, everyone has say in what it is you're building. And I'll tell you about my advisory board. I used to do all of the fundraising. Many of our kids are pros now at it. The last 2 years, it's the bigger, funding opportunities that we've received. Our players have got out and gotten it. So our players know how to do this stuff now. So it's really important that we trust them and we empower them. People use the word empower all the time, but it literally means to give your kids sometimes your platform to do exactly what they've watched you do. They watch us do it. They have access to it. So we allow them to do these things, and it shocks them sometimes, but then it becomes something that you can never take away from them. Can you imagine the fact that we have 16 and 15-year-olds who are running community tournaments that benefit populations that they come from, and they're doing it themselves? I may get them the field and things like that, but they're doing it on their own. There's a sense of self-esteem and just competence that you receive before you even leave high school, that you've been able to do some things and you've been a part of building a league and been a part of allowing it to evolve. That's a very, very important piece with everyone who's involved, letting them be seen and heard and working together to continue to create that culture for each other.
There's a question on there. Somebody had wrote, how do we find and hire coaches, or something along those lines. That I don't have my chat open. I just saw it pop up. So I'll just say quickly, and again, like, I'm really happy to work alongside anybody that is looking to find female coaches in their community. But some of the things that I do is I go to all the local junior colleges and colleges, and I talk to the teams there. We'll do grassroots coaching courses and use the college, and we'll help get the college students all, their grassroots coaching licensing, and they'll use our kids to run their sessions. We go on Indeed and Craigslist, things like that, and post things. But mostly it's like word of mouth. It's in the community, going out to the women's league games in the community, having our middle school and high school kids start coaching, getting them their coaching and referee licenses. And again, we make a financial, again, I cannot speak today, commitment to supporting them. So we pay for our coaches to get their licensing. And then, if they want to continue on with coaching, we'll continue to support that. If they want to go to, other professional development things, they want to learn how to grant write. We're really committed to helping the women in our organization. So, but really getting the local high school and college players licensed is really key.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say for me, our focus was really investing in who is currently in our city. So we have partnerships with the local colleges, University of Rochester, and also with RIT. So even this summer, before COVID really hit us pretty hard, we had the entire University of Rochester women's team who were coming out and working with our kids. That was amazing for the young girls looking up to see players who are playing at that next level, who are working with them, giving their time. And also for the girls on the college, it was really, really important for them to be involved in this league and them seeing where they can pitch in and be involved in and helping us grow this landscape. That's really important. So for them, it was important for them to be mentored. And for us, we have to make sure that we're mentoring even into these college kids. Sometimes I forget because we have such little powerhouses that I forget that they need that sometimes. I'm like, oh, they're leaders already, but they still need that mentorship, even at the college level as they're kind of moving through their college career. So the same way we want to make that landscape for our youth players, we also want to make sure that we're doing that for our college coaches and anyone else who's involved in our program, that they feel like they have a place to grow. It's a growth mentality with anything that we're building. And that's what kind of keeps people involved and keeps people wanting to work with the program, when they can see that they have that ownership with what we're building, and it's something that's special.
Mm-hmm. I did see a follow-up question about having an all-female coaching course, and we've run several of them now, and it's been great. That is one deterrent that I hear from women, is that they'll be the only woman in a coaching course, and they feel intimidated. They feel like they can't speak, or they don't want to run a session. So yes, we've had female instructors running an all-female coaching courses, and they've been really great, a lot of fun. And then the women in those coaching courses then feel like they also have other women already to lean on outside of their course. So 100% yes. And again, if anyone wants to run an all-female coaching course, please let me. I will support you and help you.
Awesome. This is a good question here. This is actually a very good question. Please explain exactly how you created that board and how you encourage buy-in to be on that board. The buy-in's kind of easy. We have a lot of people who want to be on our board. And I think sometimes it's because what we've created is so unique. And again, there's the results that we're receiving on the academic end of things. And we've also had kids who can just flat out ball and who are getting, big time scholarships. So on so many different ends, there's a positive vibe and a nurturing community that we formed. So I actually brought in, I won this business program. And so I brought a team in to help us build that. So we just had a conversation with our youth advisory board on, the things that were important. So of course, aligning with, people who are invested in soccer. So I got to shout out my guy, Soccer Sam, who's literally the guy who keeps soccer surviving, like professional level soccer. And he had buy-in right away, from our mayor, who fully supports our program. So when we're talking about someone who's invested in soccer in our community, especially for our girls, she gives us the stadium to train out of at prime time when they could be making a lot of money because they're invested and they've bought into what it is that we're building. So we had to make this story a little shorter, we had a long list of people who could potentially be on our board. And we whittled it down to what exactly we needed to be successful, whether we needed a working board or whether we just needed a regular board. And we started off with just a regular board. So we have members from the city, members from city recreation. And then we actually have a couple of youth advisory board members who also speak on behalf of what it is that we're doing. So we were very intentional in selecting people who we thought could contribute to the conversation. And we'll actually be adding some college players in too, so that we can hear from their landscape. All right. So let's see here. Okay, there's a question. I'm going to give this one to you because I know you have this one, Lindsay. How do you integrate youth that are other abled? And if you want to explain what that is, because I literally just learned that today. So I'm learning and evolving with you guys. And do you both have programs that integrate kids that are other abled into your program? And how do you make sure that parents of these kids know you are there for them?
Sure. So yes, we have differently abled kids in our program. We also have differently abled coaches. And so ableism could be anything from a physical disability to asthma to, I mean, there's like a whole gamut of things that would fall under the banner of ableism or differently abled bodies. So we do have a lot of differently abled bodies in our organization, and we really try to encourage parents to tell us up front. A lot of the time, coaches find things out like a week, a month, a season into working with a kid, and you're like, "How come? What's going on with this kid?" Like, you know. So we really try to create a really open and safe space for our kids and for our parents to be able, and we tend to just attract the families that need this for their kids. So I will just, so we tend to probably have more of different kinds of kids than a typical club. And so, yeah, parents will say like, no other club will like let my kid play and they've got this thing with their foot or whatever. So we try to, find out what the different abilities are. We try to get information from the kids, maybe doctors or physical therapists or whatever the thing is, so that we can try to accommodate the kid as best and as safely as possible, and make it fun for them. I mean, all kids, again, should have access. So we don't have anybody per se like in a wheelchair. I don't know how that would work in this kind of a situation, but we have definitely had all kinds of things. And yeah, I don't know. I want to poke over to Shalom to ask her because she tends to get a lot of tips. But we just try to do it as safely and as possible. We do a ton of team building. And so also our kids like have each other's back. So you might have a kid that like can't really run because of something that's wrong with their leg or their hip or their foot. And there might be something happening with the other team on game day, and our kids will like rally around their teammate like no other. So it's not just about getting them on the field, but it's also about building their other teammates understanding and awareness and compassion and empathy for their teammate who might have some different abilities as well. So we also try to do that, not just working with the kid with the different ability, but the kids that are typical kids, to help them to understand and love and cherish all of their teammates regardless of ability.
Awesome. Tom has a good question here. For low-income kids, how do you resolve transportation barriers? Are you neighborhood based? Tom, this is a phenomenal question because, as we know, with inner city programs, it's a huge problem. So even for us this year, we did a lot of our soccer school out of the stadium, and transportation was a huge issue. So one of the greatest relationships that we have with the school district and with our city recreation was recognizing that we wanted to get back to playing in the neighborhood. So when you're saying neighborhood based, for us, that's the solution. We know where our most popular communities are, and we use those recreation centers for practice sites. So as we were setting up our futsal league that's supposed to start in January, fingers crossed, we'll see. We're in the orange right now, so hopefully we move down and we can play. But we organized the league. I know we organized the league so that the most kids would be able to have transportation through city recreation to get to the nearest recreation center that's right in their backyard. And I think that's an important thing to do if you have those relationships with your school district or with city recreation, is that they have access to buses, they have access to vans. And as long as you're willing to kind of spend some time developing that relationship, my city's amazing. All I have to let them know is what we need, and then they do their best to provide it. And then if they can't do something for me, the school district, because I work with so many 28 of the schools in the city for my girls team, the Form 1 team. So they'll get buses for us if we need for things like that. So I think it's just important having those relationships with people in your community who can help out with that. But transportation is a huge issue. So people even use churches. People go to churches, people who have vans and things like that. So it's a lot of different ways that people have done it. I personally just do it through city recreation and the school district.
And I'll just say America Scores is amazing at this, bringing their program into schools and neighborhoods. For us, practice is less challenging. It's game days. Unfortunately, we don't have vans or ways to provide transportation. We do our best to set up carpools and things like that. But we definitely don't have a great solution for that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do know of some leagues that have been able to, with parents who are able to carpool, they have been able to form some type of carpool system. There's been talks on like a grander scheme of some things that can be done. Nothing's really been set in stone, like some partners with Uber and different things like that. I haven't seen it happen yet, but I know people are working on that because it's a problem for everybody. It really is. And working through the schools and city recreation seems to be the best solution for it, but it's an issue. It's an issue. We can probably open this up with Alicia and
Alicia did just post a question that I think
okay.
is a great question. I think it was Alicia.
Yes,
how are you
it is.
keeping your programs alive during COVID? Do you want to address that?
Sure. We actually just got shut down last week, Wednesday, but what we did is of course we adhered to the protocol that we had, temperature checks and just making sure we probably went a little crazy with things. We probably cleaned down the equipment I have this nice big Ghostbuster disinfectant pack with a little sprayer on it. And I'd bring my coaching staff in, so I'd be the person going around cleaning the balls up. I'd probably every 10 minutes. And then we'd had kids do their, we'd come around with sanitizer to clean their hands and things like that. We moved indoor, and that actually, I'm not going to lie, it was worrying me because it was a smaller space, and our program, again, is thriving. So we tried to keep it below 25 kids, but it's one of those things where it was just important for kids' mental and emotional health. I'll say that there are so many parents who were just like, our kids they're just playing video games all day. We just want them to interact. So I probably wouldn't have even had a season. Well, we didn't have a season, but had soccer school. But the parents, again, having that relationship with our community, we're really adamant about having something. So even now that our program isn't working, we're still engaged with our families. We reach out as much as possible. It's week our parents, once we jump back in, they're ready to roll, but we just try to do our best to get a newsletter out, engage with them. And once our college players come back in, we'll probably do a little bit more with skill sets and things like that we can continue to develop via Zoom.
Yeah. So I'll just briefly, over the summer, we did Zoom. So everybody had a ball in their living room or whatever space they had. And we just tried to keep kids active as much as possible and engage with each other. Since I guess mid-August, we've been doing pods. So in San Francisco, we're allowed to have a pod of 14 or fewer, and we try to see our kids 3 days a week. And it's all social distancing with masks on. We've turned every blacktop recess game into soccer, foursquare, tennis, soccer, baseball, like anything you can imagine where you could be 6 feet apart. We have created a soccer game of it. And again, it's socially emotional and activity. So the X's and O's have gone out the window. Don't really care. We just need to keep these kids active and engaged. Yeah.
Oh, Kimberly Crabb is in the building. For those of you who do not know, Kimberly Crabb is the first African-American woman to play on the U.S. national team. Shout out to Kimberly Crabb. Let's see, what's some other questions that we have here? I feel like we skipped a few.
About funding.
What are some of the ways that you fund your clubs? You guys know what? I think and I don't know if it's the same for you, Lindsay, but it comes to me, right? And I think because we've been able to form a program that people believe in, and they can see the benefits that it has for our city. Our city had a really bad graduation rate, and I can't say that that's the fact for my league. My kids do really well in school. They're really smart. I always have kids at the top of their class. So that's not an issue that I've ever had. So it's been really important that we create a system that changes the negative connotation that you typically find for inner city kids. So for our girls, it was just easy because they're natural leaders who work hard, and especially when you show an interest in them. So we get funding because people see what we're doing. So I think sometimes, guys, it's really about the value of your message and being actionable on it. And I think sometimes people are like, I love what you're doing. I wish my kids had this opportunity. I wish I had this opportunity. And then sometimes, I know it's a very vague answer, but that's literally just my answer. That's people come to me and want to fund the program. It's just been one of those things. We approach city council, but we've had sponsors just come to us and want to get involved, and we just put the sponsorship on a shirt and pretty much go from there on a any of our signage. We just make sure that we do that, but people want to be aligned in a program that's amazing in the community, and many of you guys have programs that are like that. So I think it's one, if part of it is you don't have visibility, making sure that you're making sure that what the amazing work that you're doing is visible in your community so that you can get some buy-in, literally, get people to buy into your program.
Yeah. And I'll just say we have a really low overhead. We use like, I don't even know what brand we use, to tell you the truth. I don't even know if it's a brand at all. So like our uniforms, our coaches gear, everything is like super low cost. So we really try to keep our costs down for our families. We do have a pay to play model. But again, we don't turn any kids away. About 40% of our kids are financial assistance. And we just do creative fundraising all year long. Like we just did a virtual run and brought in 40,000. It was like no effort on our part. You create a website and everyone on their own goes and runs a couple miles. Like awesome, And then we do an end of the year letter. My birthday happens to be at the end of the year, so the board uses that and posts a little Lindsay photo when I played soccer at 7 years old. And it's just like, hey, Lindsay gives this her all. Can you give a few bucks? And we usually bring in 20 to 50,000 that way. So we're just constantly asking. And again, like people believe in what we're doing and they're happy and they want their kids to be in it as long as possible. So it's not really a huge effort. And then, we have a few big donors every year. And so I sit down over coffee and chat with them and they write a check. But we try to do a lot of creative things. Taking kids on like international trips, I require that they raise 50 to 100% of their own. The kids have to raise their own money, so they'll bake cookies and they're doing all kinds of creative things throughout the year so that they can go on the trip, even if their parents could afford to pay for them to go. I don't allow it. I want them to be invested in their own experiences and to not take this for granted. So there's lots of ways. Again, happy to help you if you need.
And there are programs too. So like there are a lot of resources through, the U.S. Soccer Foundation, state associations have a program called Soccer Across America. A lot of people know about it. But there are a lot of, oh yes, Krabby's on board with us. But there are a lot of programs out there, and we can help you navigate through that space of funding. There are some good tools out there that can help you with that.
I will just quickly say, every single Target store has $1,000. I just got $9,000 from every single Target store in San Francisco. Apply for their grants. I think it's twice a year, and I don't think anyone but me applies to them. I get it every year. So Target, I think Kmart has like $1,000 that they can give to
Dick's Sporting Goods will give you free equipment. Yeah, you can get free equipment if you just apply yearly. You can get soccer balls, pennies, cones. So you just have to really study up on the resources too, and we can help you with that stuff. Like we know a lot of those avenues, and it's such a short session that we would literally have to go into detail on. Like the board stuff could be a session all of its own. I feel bad that we weren't really able to delve into that. The fundraising session, like that's something that could essentially be a session, but hopefully we gave you guys just a little bit, and you guys have our information. You can reach out and we can give you some more detail on that. Kimberly Crabb.
Hey!
Guys, we're welcoming in the first Black female to play on the U.S. national team. We have a star in our midst. We're excited so Kim, you want to bless the people with some, I think just a little information about your program, I guess.
Well, you guys are rocking it out. And of course, I share in some of the same culture. You guys talked about some of the culture. You talked about a little bit about the fundraising, but you and I had a session on the fundraising, but that's a whole nother session in itself. But I think the main thing that you guys are zoning in on is the unity and how important that is and how important it is to give back to the game. So all of us are running grassroots to some degree, programs and serving our communities. I run an outreach program here in Wilmington, North Carolina. where I'm doing the same. I'm targeting at-risk and underserved kids. Mine is a little different because I do get to go into the schools directly on a daily when it's not a pandemic, and organize recess. So I go in, I organize recess. So I'm force feeding them soccer then, and then I offer free city league soccer on Saturdays, and then I'm with the city and after school programs. So I'm reaching a lot of kids. I mean, on a weekly basis of the norm, I can share with 800 to 900 kids. So, if we can, and I think Lindsay, she also touched on, if they're playing baseball or they're in the arts, we want them to be able to do those things as well. But of course, using soccer as our vehicle, we get to reach so many. And I just think that it's awesome that you guys are doing these summits. So we're also reaching a lot of the individuals that might be interested in doing some coaching or just need to learn more about how you can keep giving to this game. And I'm with hopes that I can pass the baton on to somebody in my program to keep programs like this thriving within our community. So thank you guys for what you're doing. Thank you for including me in. I'm in the car, as you can see, but I'm so engaged in what you guys are bringing to the table that I can't move.
And I think that's also a point for all the coaches who are on the call, recognizing the responsibility that we all have as program owners, coaches, and even players to make sure that we have a next generation of players who are ready to just do more, who are thoughtful, who are intentional. But most important, the relationships that need to be built that allows everyone to be successful, because when players can respect their teammates and see them all and value them all, when they know that they're respected by their coaches, by their board, and seeing the way that people will rally around them, wanting them to be successful. That's where true power is. That's where you allow kids to be their greatest version of themselves before they leave you. And that's why I love what Lindsay's doing. I love what Kim's doing, because it's not your typical pay to play model. It's literally letting these girls grow up to be the fierce bosses, CEOs, whatever it is that they're going to be, that they're destined to be, and allowing them to be 100% who they are in the space that we create. And as they leave us, they're going to be comfortable in their own skin, being and doing everything that they need to do in this world, because God gave them gifts to bring to the world. So 100%. Do we have any other questions? Okay, there we go, Angela.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I have to get in a question before we close and wrap up. Like I said, it's about bringing everybody together, these summits, and learning and sharing and then amplifying. So 2 questions for you. 1, what do you want to see happen? Like in your world, whatever you're doing in the next 5 to 10 years, what would be like the highest achievable goal? 2nd, what do you want everybody else to do? What's an action item anybody watching or anybody watching the replays can do?
I'm leaving that up to these two. This is their platform, but go ahead, ladies. Take it away.
Do you want to go first, Lindsay?
Sure. Well, I would like to see more clubs, groups, schools, organizations, U.S. Soccer Federation, really, really champion making opportunities available to more girls and women. I think that, and then action items, freaking do it.
Just do it.
And I think another piece that's really important is supporting other organizations that are similar to yours. I can call Lindsay and Shalom at any time and ask for advice. I can call Kim. Angela, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call everyone and anyone. We have people who started a GA program at the elite level, and they have an entire youth board. My friends at Atta Football just started a program that brings access to women's sports at the highest level. We're able to watch Man City and Man United in the way that we were able to watch the men's game, because 2 women decided that there was a problem with not being able to see the world's players that are women play this game. So we can literally see the German league, the Super League in England, where we're seeing, Alex Morgan and Tobin Heath and Kristen Press and Rose Lavelle and Sam Ewis play weekly, because they have a partnership with NBC and with ESPN. But it's going to be people from our community, women and girls and allies, who want to support the women's game in a way that's all new, because it's going to have to be creating new narratives and new systems, but we have to support each other, guys. It's not a competition. There's so many people that we have to reach, that we have to come together, have each other's back. I want everyone who's on this to be successful, so please reach out to us. That's all this is about, guys. It's creating more opportunities for girls and women in this sport, and we can all do that together.
Please.
Yes,
And it's
yes,
not
yes.
enough to put a banner on your club site that says we are inclusive or we accept everyone. Please, it's a financial commitment. It is, getting a board, build a board that believes in this. You have to set time aside, money aside, mentor, create it, put all the love and the passion into it. It's doable.
Love that, Lindsay. Kim, you're not escaping this question. I know you got some ideas. Come
No,
on.
no, no. I mean, I concur with everything that they're saying. I just think that if we all are working together in unity, I mean, how can we fail? You know what I mean? We have to keep regurgitating this thing, our visions and our missions, and getting the support that we need, getting more people aboard, selling our product. At the end of the day, I feel like I'm selling a product that's pretty much selling itself, but I'm aboard with anything moving forward that's got female power included in it. So if you guys are putting on more summits or more Zooms, Lindsay, I want to come back and talk to the girls.
Oh yeah.
I got to speak with all the girls early on during the pandemic, and I want to come back and see how everybody's doing. So I just think we all just have to work together for the greater good of the cause, and we'll be successful.
Yes. Thank you so much. Like, more inspiration. You guys were wonderful last Friday, was it? And back for more. Can't thank you enough from America Scores and from just our community. So I'm seeing lots of stuff. Yes, this will be available for replay. Alicia's going to send the information out to everybody. Once, it's going to take a minute to process, but you will have access if you attended. And then I see that Shalom has put a lot of links in the chat. So we are gonna promote everything that was said here. Thank you, Shalom. I thought you were gonna join us, but thank you for being so active in the chat. We're gonna put all the information from the speakers out to the attendees, as long as you guys are cool with that, because that's how we're gonna support each other.
Absolutely.
Can't thank you enough from
you
our
so
heart to you guys. Yes. Yeah.
And again, thank you guys for what you guys are doing, providing a platform for us to have these conversations. This is wonderful. Thank you, guys.
For real. Come back next session, you guys. We have our own Leah Morales and Erica Wheeler Dubbin. I hope I said that name right, but they're going to talk about football-y. There's all sorts of ways to play the beautiful game. We have Leslie Osborne showing up tomorrow. Sarah Dwyer Schick. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name, but I'm sending
Sarah's
you all
awesome.
such good intentions.
Yeah, we got to shout out Sarah. Sarah was on here. Check Sarah out.
She's amazing.
Shout her out.
We're going to send out her links. Sign up for Women in Soccer so we can connect, and just, I don't know, peace to everyone. Stay safe, as Alicia would say. Thank you, Alicia, again for organizing everything. And, peace to everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Take care, guys.
Be safe.
If you guys can stay on for a minute.
I'm out.
Okay.
Lindsay,
I
Kim,
almost just okay. Oh, who, us?
Yeah.
Who, us?
You,
Okay.
you, a minute. I'm just gonna have to. Out.
Lindsay's dancing with her phone.
Alicia, are you back on, Alicia?
Yeah, I'm just removing
Okay.
everybody else.
Thank you.
You all were amazing. I'm so proud of all of you.
You guys are amazing. I just since you guys were here, and I just wanted to get your quick feedback. I wanted to say, I'm sorry if it was a little clunky at the start. Nicole, you were an incredible moderator.
Great moderator.
Yeah, so sorry, we
It's
didn't.
it's my next chosen field.
Yeah, well, you could do it now, yesterday. But just want to say thank you, like personally, and Alicia, you should show your face. Because anyway, I'm saying thank you and smiling for both of us, but also want to just get your quick feedback and thoughts for next steps. Like, what can we do? What should we make sure we include in the follow up so that you're taken care of?
I think what you guys are doing is the most important thing, right? Is creating this platform for, you know, what I think would actually be amazing is if you guys got every single person who was a speaker on a call and we have this conversation. I think that's where you're going to see some real
Kind of like a
stuff
closeout,
Oh
of the
yeah,
summit?
close out with every single speaker and let's have some real conversations for how we forward.
Okay.
And I'd like to add, and this is something that I'm bringing up in lots of different places that I am, is that, so thank you for having me on here, who did not play college soccer, who has a very low level licensing. And so my thing is that as much as, yes, the Julie Foudies of the world are important to the conversation, I think we need to continue to bring with us the Lindsays of the world. You know, our assistant coaches, our high school coaches, our grassroots coaches that have no aspirations to coach in college, just really love the rec game. I think we need to hear more of those voices that relate to so many more coaches than I think the, you know, whatever, the, you know, the super top echelon of the game coaches. So I'm not saying that we don't want them there. I think we need more of the other coaches. And
Sure, why not highlight them as well? I agree.
And board, you know, people who are board members that aren't soccer players, like this is how you run, or like a really rocking board. You know,
and I think
like
that's where the authenticity is there too. When you look at like some of the people who aren't necessarily getting the recognition for the work they're doing, I think that as a chair of an organization where I see so many amazing programs that nobody even knows about, and the type of players they're developing, players who are playing overseas in Germany and doing all this amazing work, but we'll never know about them because they're not big name people. And then you'll see, like, it's, I always have these conversations with like my consulting company when I work with these different brands, and they're like, oh, let's bring in, and they want to work with like Kobe Jones and Gucci and Yewu and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're cool too, but let me tell you about
I don't know, he played for the LA Galaxy. I don't know.
They're awesome, but you know, we have some grassroots people that are some bad mamma jammas.
Agreed.
Okay. I think Alicia, I have to say, I think Alicia did a fantastic job bringing in folks from all aspects of the community, right? Like, sorry, Kim, go on.
No, I forgot what I was going to say now. I think, I know one of my things I wanted to do, I wanted to see, I don't know how you guys can do that on how many males chime in to these summits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw the last one that might have been Foudy and Chastain. I saw, you know, I mean, granted, some of the names could be different and they still could be a female, but I would just, I mean, yes, it's a female summit, but I don't know. I mean, they can take away a lot from this as well. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
I would just, I don't know. I don't know how you could get the data of that, you know, collect data of that, but I don't know. Just something to add.
Yeah, okay. I think we could have, we debated a lot about having, like, our CEO is male, you know, and he's done a ton for the game. He's done a ton for, he started Bay Area Scores. And we just said, you know, we had this back and forth, should he interview at all or not? You know, should this be, you know, and then Courtney from Women in Soccer and Alicia were like, it's about us. Like, it's about us. He can take a step back today. But I think we could have done a session on allyship. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, as much as we dream of being
putting
all
the
women,
word men in there, I think like how to include men in the girl side of the game, or how to, you know, how men can whatever relate to the girl side of the game, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay,
I think of like a Kadani McAlpin who's like, he's so pro woman, you know. It's like it's just always creates, sometimes he advocates harder for women than I do, and I'm just like, wow, you know. So there are some of those men who, oh, Trevor too, Trevor Banks. Does he? Oh, good.
That would be cool.
Sorry, he's awesome, but I didn't know. I love Trevor. I didn't know.
Also,
We'll ask him.
I think something cool would be like, you see all of the faces of all of the speakers, and then maybe you could have a blank one, and like a surprise guest, or where are they now, or who, whatever. I don't know, something to keep everybody kind of engaged to that day to see who it could be.
Yes, I like that.
Kim,
Okay.
I think you should Zoom bomb every single call.
We tried.
Hey,
We
wait a
asked her to
minute.
come on the last one. She wouldn't come.
I still see record on this. I can't even tell you. I was shaving my head while I had y'all on. I was like, Lord, if the camera's on, I am in trouble. But I knew that my girl Nicole would say, she would text me and say, Krabby, everybody sees you.
You would definitely get a text. You would have definitely gotten one. Oh man.
Okay.
Oh man, but
Good.
I don't mind being included, but this was y'all's platform. I learned from everyone that I listened to.
I haven't been able to. I love the replay because I haven't, like, I had calls all day today, so that's. I mean, I have to catch all these. Like, I got to catch some of the ones I missed. But yeah, I love that you guys were able to put this together for free for people. Like, it's awesome. Like, this is free content. It's great. I appreciate what you guys
talk about fundraising.
Seriously, help us.
Yeah.
We got to sustain too.
Yeah. Right. Whole nother conversation, but yes, fundraising. Okay, well, I should go do some of my calls, but I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts since I had you right here, because we just want to get better. And
I'd
I want
also
you
like
all
you
to
to
come back.
join my group. Yeah, we want to come back, but I also want you to join the Black Soccer Coaches group. Like I said, we get better. The more women we have join us, we just get better. I tell the guys that all the time, where they just look at me like, well, I'm not wrong.
Hey, I got one more idea.
That's okay. I'm gonna hunt her down for you, Nicole. I'm gonna hunt her down.
Please, I would love to have her involved. Yeah.
Angela, one more idea is maybe you could get some of the youth. Maybe there's some upcoming youth that
we talked about
you could
that.
get a couple of them and include them in, like you just zoomed me in just for a few minutes.
Oh, that would be
maybe
cute.
There's somebody from Girls Unite that can, chime
we
in.
could have like the
Alicia
youth advisory board. Yeah, we could have. Yeah, that would have been kind of cool to hear them talk to how empowered they feel by different things, and maybe a couple of our players hop on too. Oh, that would have been cool.
And your players talking about being, participating in fundraising. Alicia and I did talk about this, and I just didn't pull it together. But I think the youth voice is so important, and sometimes we get disconnected from our 13-year-old self and forget like what we needed and wanted.
Oh yeah, tell me. I got my 12-year-old. I'm like, who are you? What do you want?
I'm telling you, this is different. They're a different breed.
They're aliens at that age. That's right.
So in that same vein, I'd just throw this out there. I did a guided exercise with our moms a few years ago to help them to reconnect to their personal 13-year-old self so that they could better connect with their daughters. And they were all in tears. Like, we did this whole thing of like, what music did you listen to? What were you wearing? Who were you hanging out with? All this stuff. And then had them write a letter to their own 13-year-old self. We could do something like that on here with the participants, and then at the end, like if anyone wants to share the experience they had or whatever, but it's kind of powerful. And
I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh. I wonder if we could ever like get content out on like just everyone's programs and then connect it in like a video. Like you can kind of see like, this is what we really do. You hear us talk, but this is, let's show you, so,
Then we would never have to worry about a sponsor because we'd be on fire.
Sure. I wish. I'm going to go ahead and ask this now too. I had a quick thought that I would love for our Golden Gate, for our women's league. We just did a session on women's league. I would love to have each of you come as a speaker. Lindsay, you could do the women's like soccer moms in the league, connect with your youth from a soccer perspective. You could do that. Maybe Kim and Nicole, would you come and do a session like for our women's league?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kim's always up for talking.
Hey, it's part of the mission, man. If it's part of the mission, then we can't say no. We can't say no. If it's part of the mission, you got to do it.
We got to be able to execute. We got to put our big girl panties on.
Yeah, and we got to walk the walk. We're all telling everybody we support each other. So
Kim, at this point in life, every panty I have are big girl panties.
I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000. So
I do not empower women, so I will not show up. We'll always, come and support anything like that. Anything that, is supporting, we're down. Always
Much
down.
respect.
And
I was
Angela, if
crying
you
after your
wanted to-
session. I really like hands off and much respect. I was like, went to my daughter and was like, you've got to meet these women.
Except when
great.
I'm coaching in a intense environment, then I'm an entirely different person. I'm kidding.
She did say that she smiles, but her smile changes. And
My
her kids
players
know
told
what
me that.
smile
My
is.
players told me that. They're like they read my eyes. So they're like, your eyes are telling. And I'm like, what? They're like, we know when we're in trouble from your eyes. And I'm like,
Those
that's
are
not
pretty
good.
roots. Those Caribbean roots coming out of you.
Man, I was like, I have an expressive face, so
Yeah.
they just know.
And they're kids, right? You can't fool kids. Like kids are more in tune. They just know. You can smile, but if you
That's
don't
right.
feel it, if it's not in your
They're
heart,
like, that
kids are
smile's a little different.
we're in trouble. Yeah. Okay, ladies. Let's
Sounds good.
take
Angela,
please.
thank you. And if you ever want to do a social distance walk in Marin or whatever, let me know.
Let's do it.
I'm around.
Awesome.
Okay.
I feel like
Thank you,
we should be
everybody.
like
Thanks,
toasting
guys.
a glass of wine or something.
I know
Cheers.
Friday. So I am going to give you a quick heads up. We had an open session on Friday at 3:00. We put Courtney from Women in Soccer, Bethany, National Director of America Scores, and Ann Kletz of Goal 5. And it's a closing session. So the reason we're asking everybody about that action item is we want to bring those into the closing. So your idea of asking all the speakers back, I'm going to check in with Alicia, see how she feels about it. But I don't see why. Wouldn't that be fun if like whoever just wanted to came on?
I
Like,
think it'd be cool.
okay,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you
Heads
have the ability now to create this unbelievable networking, right?
Seriously.
So like if you put all whatever 100 of us in a room and then had some breakout sessions or whatever, it's
Yeah.
just unbelievable networking.
it is. But I will say, I mean, to be honest, I don't know if we can pull that off.
Sure,
by
maybe
Friday.
not right now, but yeah.
But the Women in Soccer session tomorrow, the launch party, that's what they're going to do. And we put that into the summit also.
Oh, cool.
So
Cool.
they're going to do it. You're going to see all those folks. Definitely show up for
Awesome.
that one if you can. Yeah,
Cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
thanks again. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys.
likewise.
All right. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nicole. Thanks
Bye,
for
guys.
moderating.
See ya.
Thanks for having me. Oh, gosh.